Meet Poncho. Poncho is the ultimate outdoor performance shirt for whatever you're getting into.
This shirt feels good.
It looks good.
And somehow works for everything I do. From sunrise hikes to sitting on the front porch watching the sunset, Poncho's got your back, literally. It's built for all-day comfort and made to handle serious heat. UPF sun protection locked in.
Hidden zipper pockets, yep, you can stash your keys, your wallet, whatever, and the sunglasses holder is a game changer.
No more outfit changes, no more soggy tees, just one shirt that works all day. Poncho is the shirt that does it all and looks good doing it.
Poncho's got a bunch of great styles. The original, western, denim, and ultralight. You can get shorter long sleeves, regular or slim fit, and in a ton of colors and patterns.
If you are looking for the perfect shirt, something breathable, fits great, feels even better, and stands out in a good way, give Poncho a try.
Go to ponchooutdoors.com/redpoppyranch for $10 off your first order. That's PONCHO outdoors.com/redpoppyranch for $10 off and free shipping. Go try one out.
Thank you, Poncho. Well, they got down about 15 feet, open hole is what they call it, without using casing, and they probably hit some cobble or something like that that started bouncing the drill head around, and so they're gonna wait till tomorrow morning and get the casing out here. But the thing that's most important to me at this exact moment is the fact that they didn't have any conflict with gas lines, or there's gas line, conduit, and water line all right here, and it's over closer to the house, and I was confident I picked a spot that they wouldn't hit, but you never know, I guess. And they didn't hit anything, so that's good. So tomorrow morning we're gonna get back out here and hopefully get going on this again and see how, I think in one day they'll have this all done. There might be some other stuff that might take another day or two, but it shouldn't take that long. So all right, I invited Cedar to be a part of this video, but she says she's not quite ready to do that just yet. But about 6 months ago, it became pretty obvious that I needed to make some decisions around water, around our house. That the shallow well that we've used for the last 7 years was in jeopardy. And you know, initially I tried to I guess just ignore it, thinking it would go away. But the way my brain works, and I don't know if my brain works the same way that everybody else's brain works because I've had so many concussions, but I hyper focus on things to the point where I literally get sick. Even right now, I don't feel great talking about this, but you know, whenever it was 6 or 7 years ago, I got really sick. I lost probably 60 pounds. I got down from about 225, I got down to I think 159 pounds. And mostly because I just didn't know how to manage the stress that was in my life. Part of the reason we moved into our house as early as we did, without it being finished, was because I had to make some changes for my health's sake. And so every time these things happen in my life where I start to feel those same feelings, I get nervous because my body reacts, you know, pretty quickly. And as much as I've tried to not treat this issue with the shallow well as though it's as big of a deal as it is. The truth is, it's a tremendous deal. I've said since the very beginning, if you don't have water secured on your land, you're basically camping. And so, after thinking about it, after lots and lots and lots of sleepless nights, after talking with my wife over and over, we decided the solution was to just drill a new well, even though it wasn't something financially that we wanted to do this summer. I can think of many other things to spend that kind of money on. But ultimately, this was going to happen. I kind of always knew it was going to happen. I think I hoped I had a few more years before I did this. But the truth is, I got an estimate, I think 7 years ago. And I should have done it back then. I should have trusted my gut back then, because it was about 40% cheaper than it's going to cost me now. But regardless, I now get to deal with this new well, and I get to hope that they hit water in the what I have budgeted. It costs per foot, and if they don't hit water within the depth that I can afford to go, then I don't know what I'm going to do. But I've got 19 deer. We've got a whole bunch of my family. Water's probably the most. There's no question, it's the most important thing that we have around here. And this is probably more adult conversation than it is kid friendly. And so I'll try to pick my words carefully here. But the way that I grew up, the contention in our family has led all of my siblings to try and, I think, avoid that at all cost. We definitely, none of our family homes have the kind of energy flowing through it that our family home did as kids. My dad was just never around because he was a school teacher. He didn't make a whole lot of money, and he was always serving in our church, so he just was never around. And as much as my parents wanted to try and convince themselves that our family was the poster for what a quintessential Christian family should look like, the truth was it was the most violent home in the neighborhood, without question. The fighting that happened between my brothers and myself, there's no excuse for it. And I think what happened is, as we got older, we all realized that we were the products of this meat grinder that we grew up in. And so we're Scots-Irish on both sides. And I'm actually reading a book right now called Born Fighting that I love so much. It's clarified so many things, and it actually makes me feel normal on some level. But there is something in me, in all of us, that if you push up against us, you're going to get twice that back. I don't know that I've ever started a fight ever in my life. At school, growing up, I don't know that I've ever started a fight other than with my brothers. But I've been in too many fights. I've been in, way too many fights. Part of the, not all of the concussions that I've had, but some of those concussions came from fighting. And then on top of that, the way that my brain works, now I just try to avoid contention, and maybe the way I approach it isn't the right way, but it's the way that I see fit. About 5 years ago, early 2020, I drove down to Salt Lake for some reason, and it was the first time that I'd left the house in quite a while. And I started to see all the billboards, and I could tell the world was changing, but up here in our little bubble, life didn't change, and I always felt safe and secure. That's part of the reason I love it up here, is I didn't ever feel safe or secure in our family home growing up. And whether I consciously knew that when I started building this place up here, I think probably subconsciously that's what I was doing. That's probably why I'm backed up against a mountain and there's only one road in and one road out. But again, back to early 2020, when I started to feel the pressure from the outside, and I was so certain it was evil. I was so certain it was not what it was claiming to be. I think I became even more distrusting of the world and people in general. I've always been pretty, again, because of how I grew up, how I chose to live my life. I think I was 15 years old the first time I ran away from home, just to, maybe try and escape that contention on some level. But I ran away from home and I went and stayed in my friend's parents' apartment, where they smoked meth for They were clearly addicted to methamphetamines, and they would later get divorced. And I can remember waking up in that home and just hacking a lung every morning just to try and catch my breath. And after a couple of weeks, my dad finally came and got me and talked me into coming home. But at some point, I made a lot of bad decisions in my teenage years, partly because I guess I just had to touch the stove myself. I didn't trust people and didn't trust what people said, and so I had to have firsthand experience with all of these things that I was told were so bad by the people that I should have been able to trust. And unfortunately, there was one particular summer between my junior and senior year where my parents, my dad took a job over in California I think it was at Cal State, if I remember right, and he had the opportunity to be a part of some peer-reviewed research that was going on. And I think for a couple of months they were gone. It was my mom and my dad and my little brother and my little sister, and I stayed home. And I was kind of, again, for the millionth time in my life, I was just kind of left to the world to fend for myself. And I would end up moving in with one of my friends. And that was really where I was introduced to these hard drugs. And over the 3 months, over that summer, I got caught up in that, and I ended up losing close to 25 pounds. But I saw the lengths that people go to satisfy that particular addiction. And I saw the theft and the lying and the stealing and the things that people do when they have to satisfy those cravings. And I had a girlfriend at that time that was just influential enough on me to help me see that I was better than that. And I could also see that it was just bad. Everything about it was so bad. I had my Volkswagen Bug that I had for most of high school. I got a flat tire one night at like 2:00 in the morning, and a guy that I knew from school that I thought I was friends with, again at 2:00 in the morning when I should have been in bed, these guys pulled over to help me, and I could tell they were gonna rob me, and they were gonna steal my car. All because of this drug that was being used. The other thing that happened during that time, at least from my perspective, is that the amphetamines that were going through Arizona, and I believe still to this day, Mesa, Arizona is like the methamphetamine capital of the North America, something like that. But what happened back then is that the drug changed. It changed from being manufactured in a bathtub to being manufactured in a lab in Mexico, and the quality changed. And I had friends that got addicted to that drug that never recovered. In some cases died. In some cases substituted addictions until they died. And somehow, I by the grace of God, I found my way out of that. And the other thing that happened is at some point I started dating my wife, and she clearly had a tremendous influence on me. But through that process, at the end of the day, through that process, I developed a healthy distrust of most people. And even as I got into plumbing and in construction, I started spending time around people that I wouldn't otherwise spend time around. And then when we started our own business and we had people, owe us money that, 2008, when all that stuff went down with the recession, we had people that I went to church with that owed us money. And that again caused me to reevaluate my distrust of people. And the last 5 years have completely warped, not just mine, by the way, the majority of the world's perspective on what is believable, what is honest, and what isn't. And I've gotten to a place where I don't have a whole lot of room in my life for people that are not trustworthy in any way, shape, or form. That's for sure. But also, I kind of got to this place, and I think YouTube caused this a little bit too, where I kind of got to a place where I could see my time was incredibly valuable to me, and I could see that there were projects around here that I was probably never going to get to, and I could see that I needed to be picky about who I spent my time with. And I kind of got to a place where I just decided that if whoever I spent my time with, if they didn't make me feel good about me, I wasn't going to spend my time with them. And maybe that's selfish on my part, but again, this kind of goes back to my health and to how I think about things. And so as far as this water issue is concerned, it's a big deal. And part of the reason Cedar doesn't want to sit down and talk about this is because she's afraid of ruffling feathers. Cedar is the peacemaker, and this is why she's been such an asset to me and to my health. And her solution is to just keep moving. Let's drill the well and just keep. We don't even need to talk about this. And so I'm going to try to do that on some level, but I also want you to know what's going on and where I'm coming from, because I'm going to have to make some content about this on some level. But the bottom line is we're months away, weeks away from going into winter, and we're trying to get this figured out before winter. If all goes well and they drill this well and they hit water at the depth I think they're going to hit water, then I get to decide, am I going to put a regular well pump in, or am I going to try and do the same thing that I did with our shallow well and make it dependent on solar, which I love. I love the way our shallow well has worked so well, and I think I can, but it's going to take some time to figure this system out, because it's deeper, and then it's also in a position where it's not going to get anywhere near as much sunlight back there. But it's safer. It's more security. I'm sure at some point down the road I'm going to look back on this moment and realize it was a blessing. But sometimes when you're in the middle of this stuff, it's hard to see the forest through the trees, as they say. But the bottom line is, everything about what we've done up here has been a challenge in every way. And there's aspects of that I appreciate, because it's helped me figure out who I am, and it's helped me figure out just how far I'm willing to go to accomplish things. But it seems like when you least expect it is when these curveballs always kind of end up in your lap. And so I get to decide, how best to move forward with this. I'm trying desperately to make it into a positive thing. The one thing that I'm most scared about, I think, as a father of 5 kids, is I don't ever want my kids to duplicate hate or anger or bad feelings. I don't think that's what this life is about. Actually, I think it's more about figuring out how to navigate life and still have good feelings. One of the best parts about my dad was as he got older, he could see that he made mistakes with me and my brothers and my sisters, and he could see that he shouldn't have been so physical with us. And numerous times he would correct us kindly. He would pull us aside and say, "Look, maybe you shouldn't be so hard on your kids." But unfortunately, the thing that happened for me, I became a father at 22, and majority of parenting happens with experience. And my older 3 kids, I tell them all the time, especially my oldest daughter, Sage, I tell her all the time that I'm sorry for taking so long to learn the obvious things. Our older 3 kids are the best kids, and that's majority because of their mom. But this is what life's about. Life's about, back to my dad, I should say, the thing that was so beautiful about him is he didn't become a hardened cynic in his old age. He actually kind of went the opposite direction. And I've had some uncles do just the opposite of that. And there's nothing more miserable than being around somebody that is certain they're a victim and has told themselves the same lie for so long that they now believe it. And, those people aren't, I don't want to be that. I really don't want to be that. I tell my wife all the time, with my concussions, with my head bumps, my fear is that I'm going to start to do and say things that I have less control over, I guess. And I hope that I never, ever do anything to chase my kids off. That's for damn sure. I hope that I can keep that in check, and that I don't use that excuse. Anyway, the next step is we're going to see how this well drilling goes. We're going to see, I got to make some decisions on how I'm going to tie this into the existing system and just try and move forward. Again, my wife is 99% of the reason, my wife and my kids are 99% of the reason why I try to make the right decision, the first time. It's easier to make the right decision the first time, I suppose, than it is to go back and say you're sorry. And so I don't want to do that anymore, and I have to. But this is a big one. This is again, I didn't see this one coming, but But on some level, I did, because I got an estimate 7 years ago. So anyway, I'm going to try and be picky about what I say about this in the future. I'm going to try not to. I'm going to try and be the grown-up, I guess, in the room. And if Cedar wants to talk about it when it's time to talk about it, we'll talk about it. But I hope I can get to a place where I just keep my head up and keep moving. And usually life rewards people that do that. In the process of building this place, I found myself multiple times, kind of with my head in my hands, not sure what to do next. And sometimes you just got to take action, and sometimes you just got to move forward, and you're not even sure if it's the right decision, but it's better than doing nothing. One of the things that I do is I overanalyze things to a point where I make myself physically sick about it. Sometimes you just got to move forward, even though it's incredibly expensive, even though it's not what you want to do. But it's a solution, and it provides the security that my family needs. So anyway, we'll talk. Hopefully I don't have to talk about this any more than I have to, but we're definitely going to talk about the new well, and as things move forward and as things progress, we're going to have to talk about it a little bit. So thank you. Show them how you can stand up. Show them how you can stand up. Come on. Stand up. Come on. Stand up. Do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Stand up. Stand up, 47. Stand up. Stand up. Come on. There we go. That's 97. Here, 97. Do it again. Stand up.